Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jonathan, and welcome back to the Pack Talk. Um, we're just gonna dive right in. We're gonna do the D name teams today, and that consists of the Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, and the Detroit Lions. Um, all three, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, are very unique teams. I think even even the Detroit Lions and even the Denver Broncos, who was stuck behind, I think, a wall, and we're gonna get more into that. But we're going to start with the Dallas Cowboys, which is a more like cemented team, I think, even though a lot of people are not really considering them for very high hopes this year, except if you live in the city of Dallas, Texas. Um, but let's get into the team. So at quarterback, of course, they have Dak Prescott, and I have to say for Dallas, um, I think their backup quarterbacks are way well known in the NFL community than any other backups in the league. Everybody probably knows them. You got Ben DiNucci and then Cooper Rush as the backups. Um, the backups, Cooper Rush, I would trust a little bit more than Ben DiNucci, but as you saw 2 years ago when Dak went down with injury, how bad they were at quarterback. So Dak is very vital to Dallas's success, and they definitely need him, along with the next guy here in Ezekiel Elliott at running back. I feel like last season was very weird for them. Zeke, a lot of people say, had a down year, but honestly, I'm one of those people who's kind of tired of the slander. Zeke ran for just over 1,000 yards. He went over that 1,000 yard mark. Still had double digit touchdowns. He was on my fantasy team last year. Um, he had more consistent games than bad games. Really, he had like a 1 or 2 week at the beginning of the season, kind of a bad turnout. Um, but other than that, he got me a solid, 12, 13 points a game. I play in non PPR. I know that might be a little odd to some, but non PPR, he gets me a touchdown, some yards a game, even maybe even more, getting close to 20 points a game. But I digress. His backup is Tony Pollard, and that's where a lot of the spotlight is going these days. Is like, how are they going to utilize these two? But it literally is cut and dry, in my opinion. Excuse me. It goes Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. You got to run with Zeke. Feed Zeke to the best of your ability. You have Dak Prescott, Zeke being tremendous for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys will be good going forward. They lost Amari Cooper, which honestly, to me, might not be a big deal. It depends on how CeeDee Lamb adjusts and if he can actually be a wide receiver one on this team, which I think he can. He shows tremendous ability. So, yeah, they have CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver one. Then they have Michael Gallup, who, was it him? Yeah, he's going to start week one, I think. No, yeah, he is going to start week one. If not week two for sure. They want to avoid putting him on the pup list. And then they have at wide receiver 3 right now, Jalen Tolbert, which I don't know a lot about. But moving on, we got tight end Dalton Schultz, who I think, in my opinion, is definitely a top 8, 9 tight end in this league. A very reliable tight end. And then you got Brett Maher at kicker, which I don't really have that much of an opinion about, but I think he does what he needs to do at kicker. Pretty reliable all around. On defense, they had a very strange year again last year. The Dallas Cowboys on defense, they had the best defense in the league. I think fantasy-wise, I don't know if it was all around. It might have been the Bills, or not even the Bills, the Rams even, but probably definitely a top 5 defense, NFL-wise, league-wise. I mean, they have names. They have DeMarcus Lawrence at defensive end. They just picked up Anthony Barr this offseason for linebacker. They have Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons, who's coming off that great rookie year. They have Malik Hooker And then finally Trayvon Diggs, who it might be the outcast of this defense. A lot of people like to pick on him, saying he gets burned. And then I even saw on Twitter that he was kind of getting toasted by some third, fourth string receivers, which is not a good look for him. But he's got good hands. He can get you some interceptions. Moving on to fantasy purposes, my top 3 fantasy picks for the Dallas Cowboys would have to be CeeDee Lamb, and then Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott at third. Honestly, I think the separation between my top 3 and my notable is very very big here, because you definitely want those 3 on your team. Notable, I don't know. I have Tony Pollard in the Cowboys defense. If the Cowboys defense can repeat what they did last year, yeah, I would definitely draft them. But part of me thinks they kind of had a fluke there. But like I said, they have names, so if you want to draft them, go ahead. Tony Pollard should only be drafted for PPR purposes, and maybe even a bigger league. Okay. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos made a bunch of interesting moves. They have a new head coach in Nathaniel Hackett, and then they picked up Russell Wilson from the Seahawks, traded Drew Lock, and who's that tight end? Can't think of his name. But, yeah, they drafted him and the tight end on Denver to Seattle for Russell Wilson. And a couple picks, I believe. So, yeah, you got Russell Wilson, then at quarterback they got Josh Johnson, which I feel like they definitely need Russell Wilson to stay healthy and not get injured like last season. Even last season when Russ was hurt, they even considered it another, again, a down year for him, even though he had the touchdown to interception ratio pretty good, 28 touchdowns, not many interceptions. At running back, it gets kind of interesting here. They have Javonte Williams as the running back 1, which rightfully so. I think he will be the running back 1. He's younger, more explosive. Melvin Gordon's kind of getting up on the age scale. But still, you'd love to have Melvin Gordon at the running back 2. Probably easily the best running back 2 in the league, in my opinion. Can definitely punch it in for goal line purposes if they need to. Then wide receiver, he's got a lot of mouths to feed. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. They could be either or there. Then you have KJ Hamler at wide receiver 3 currently, because Tim Patrick went out for the year due to injury. And then, forgive me, but at tight end they have this guy named Albert Alquimban. I have no idea how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. And then at kicker they have Brendan McManus, which I really like Brendan McManus. He's a good kicker. So, my synopsis on the Denver Broncos offense is I really feel like they were held back by previous coaching and, previous quarterback play in Drew Lock. Drew Lock definitely could still have a shot in this league if he has the right coaching and support around him. It's just unfortunate that he's in Seattle now, which we'll get into Seattle a lot later. But now that they have a veteran in Russell Wilson who can still definitely play the game of football, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton could definitely have a breakout year for the first time in their careers. Let's move on to the defense, who also has some names. They have Randy Gregory, Jonas Griffith, Bradley Chubb, Patrick Surtain II, Justin Simmons, and Ronald Darby. A lot of good linebacker play and a lot of good corner play, for sure. And then Justin Simmons is no joke at the safety position. So they cover all grounds on that defense. And I feel like with having Russell Wilson, this team is going to have a jump. A quarterback says a lot about your team, And with Drew Lock, I just feel like they weren't energized enough to play to their potential. And now that they have a good quarterback in Russell Wilson now, they will play to their potential. My top 3 fantasy picks easily, I think Russell Wilson is your 1-1 there. I know I have him ranked above Javonte Williams, but I really think Russell Wilson's ready. He kind of wanted out of Seattle. He was floating around. Remember, I want to go to the Saints or the Bears. If you do want to trade me, all that. He wanted out. So now that he's on a new team, fresh start, it seems like all veteran quarterbacks go to Denver to get a ring. I think this team could do wonders for sure. And I think he's going to have one of his best years in Denver. I don't care what anybody has to say. So then you have Javonte Williams, which, arguably could be your 1A, 1B. And then I would definitely draft the Broncos defense. You're playing with defenses as a top choice because they aren't, no joke, they kept Kansas City in check even with bad quarterback play. They like playing in their division, it seems, and they're ready to compete for a chip now. And I do think they can make the playoffs. I think that whole division can make the playoffs. We'll talk about that in another video for sure, hopefully leading up to the season. Notable, again, another 1A, 1B scenario. Sutton and Judy for sure. I would draft wide receiver 1, maybe not wide receiver 1, but wide receiver 2 for sure, and flex would probably even be a steal for one of these players. I don't know which one's going to break out. It's definitely a determining year to see which wide receiver is going to take those wide receiver 1 duties. If I had to guess, it would probably be Sutton for now. Judy's young, so is Sutton. I mean, they're both young, but I just like the way Sutton plays more. And then Brandon McManus at kicker would also be another notable pick for me. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Detroit Lions, which is the team in the spotlight on Hard Knocks. Very fun and interesting show on HBO Max. The Lions are a very interesting team this year. I think this team has very good aspirations. Everybody loves Dan Campbell at head coach. These players want to play for this guy, and that is very crucial in my opinion for a football team. Is if you want to play for the staff that's on your team, the team will perform above their potential, I believe. Detroit's still kind of in a rebuild. They started the rebuild last year for sure, and drafting Penei Sewell, and now you drafted Aiden Hutchinson. So, baby steps. I think this team could easily win 7 games. I think that's your bar. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, is you need to set a boundary. Not start. Going. They're going 13-4. They're gonna make it to the NFC divisional game and whatnot. I think baby steps. If they win 7 games, that's a huge step in the right direction 2 years into a rebuild. And I think they can because their schedule is not very good, and we can get into that into another video. But onto the team. At quarterback, we got Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, and David Blau as the backups. I don't know what to make much of the backups. Jared Goff is totally capable of playing quarterback if he has the right pieces around him, and that's a big if. Saw last year definitely getting his feet wet with the Detroit Lions first year. He just kind of looked a little lost at sometimes. He got hurt a couple games too. But now that he's second year with the team, I expect him to take a big step and try to lead this team because, he was on the Rams. He's used to winning. I'm pretty sure he wants to get back to that standard. At running back, DeAndre Swift, who could easily be one of the best running backs in this league if they use him to his full potential. Then you got Jamal Williams, which is a very fan-favorite guy, I think. Everybody loves his energy. I feel like players are discouraged by it on other teams because they don't like people having fun. And then at running back, I don't know. It's going to be either Justin Jackson or Craig Reynolds at the running back 3. Either or. I say if they have to cut someone by the end of preseason, it would be Craig Reynolds. I think you have to keep Justin Jackson. Having Justin Jackson was a running back 2 on the Chargers, so having him as a running back 3, that's pretty powerful there. At wide receivers, they're kind of loaded at wide receivers. They don't have, a big star wide receiver, but they have a lot of average to above average wide receiver play. Amon St. Brown coming off that incredible rookie season. DJ Chark, Jameson Williams that they just drafted out of Alabama, and then you got Josh Reynolds at wide receiver 4. Then you got TJ Hawkinson, which again is most known, around the league as one of the best tight ends in the league. So, like I said, they have pieces to lines. You just have to, get the mesh right. Right now they have Austin Saber and or Cyber, I don't know how to really pronounce his last name, at kicker, but I think Riley Patterson and him are still kind of competing for that kicker starting job. At defense, they have some names on defense. A lot of unknowns also on defense, I think. They have Michael Brockers at defensive tackle, drafted Aiden Hutchinson, like I said, rookie. Then you have Alex Anzalone at linebacker, who's kind of like the main captain of that whole defensive front, I believe. And then you have Amani Arare at corner, who that's an unknown player for them. He had a spark for them for sure. Then you have Jeff Okudah, again another unknown on defense. Got to see what he's made of. If he's injured again, I feel like he's just a bust due to injury. And then you have Tracy Walker at safety. My top 3 fantasy picks for the Lions would have to be Amon St. Brown at 1, DeAndre Swift at 2, and then TJ Hawkinson at 3. My notable would be Jameson Williams on the bench for now, for sure, until he's back from injury, which could be as soon as week 2. And then, I'd even take a swing on the Lions defense. You never know. They have names, like I said, and if the unknowns can actually turn into known players, this defense could be good. It could be pretty good for them and could be a pretty strong suit. Jared Goff, I left off the list. I know. I just don't like him as a fantasy quarterback. He does have a lot of mouths to feed, yes, but is that going, to convert, to good numbers? I just don't know. But yeah, the Lions, I think, will not finish last. They're going to finish either second or third. Probably third. I don't think they're better than the Packers or the Vikings still. Okay, thanks guys for tuning in. I know I took a couple days break just trying to create my thoughts on teams and whatnot. We're going to next video is going to be kind of weird. I think I'm going to just do 2 teams because it's like Houston and then Green Bay. It's and then Indianapolis. So it's not like one set team. So I'm probably going to do 2 and 2, and then we're going to move on to, back to alphabetical as a whole. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.